Alright my friends, my name is Jack Billings and I'm the CEO and founder of Shed Knives. And today I have a few questions for you guys. As I'm getting closer and closer to the release for 2024 models, I need a few things to make this stuff happen. And I figured, yes, I've already gone to Google and looked online at other knife resources, but why not ask the knife community themselves? And also, I want to show you guys around the shop, show you what's going to be changing, just some things in plan for that, or in store for that, and yeah, we'll go from there. But before we do that, I always like to ask a question, so I want to know what knife or knives are you guys carrying today? For me, I'm carrying my CRKT M16 in black on black. Very nice. I've carried this one for a very long time now. I've had this for, oh my gosh, at least 6 years. So I've had this for a very long time. You can see that clip is absolutely worn out. So that really proves I've been carrying this for a long time. I also have a Pilot Precise V7 ballpoint pen. I always like to carry these with me. I don't show them off though, but I figured today, let me show that off. And then in my hand, I have with me the 2023 Shed Knives Tuatara in OD Green G10. This blade is already sold, so it's headed out to the mail here shortly. It's stamped SK23 right here. You can't, there we go, now you can see it. Hollow grind, 154 cm, 100% USA made, and 100% USA made materials. So pretty cool. I still have about 10-ish blanks left on shedknives.com, so go check that out right now. I'll put a link in the description to it so you can go grab this knife, but let's get into the video. If you've been following Shed Knives for a while, then you know one of the few things I'm missing from my shop is a heat treat system. Now, I've brought many processes into my shop, into the Shed Knives facility, but I have not brought in a heat treat system yet. Now, here's what I am wondering. What would you recommend to be the best heat treat system for 154 cm steel? Now, please note, 154 cm is a stainless steel. So this steel has to be treated differently. For example, for hot heat treats, you got to, and I say hot heat treats because there's cryogenics, which uses very cold temperatures, but it's kind of considered a heat treat, so that's why I clarify. So hot heat treat for 154 cm has to be done in like a vacuum pack, pretty much like a completely sealed foil pack, so that way you don't burn all the carbon off of your knife. So I need a few suggestions for that. So what do you think is the best process? I'm also looking for affordable. I want to keep my knife prices under $200. I've already said that there's going to be one knife that is going to be around the $250 mark, but that's because it's a massive blade, so that kind of explains that. But everything else will be under $200, and I want to keep that. And by having crazy heat treat processes that take hours and hours and hours, that does not help with the price. So let me know what you think. Let me know what the best options are out there. If you have any brand names you suggest for whether cryogenic systems or like hot heat treat forges or whatever process you recommend, let me know so that way I can gather all the resources I already have and then I can make a decision from there. So heat treat, let me know. Next up, I'm going to be changing the screws on my knives. So this year for 2023 models, I have the flathead screws on one side, and then I have the Phillips head screws on the other. Now this makes it really versatile for Kydex sheaths because they use the same exact screws. Also, if you lose a screw in your sheath, you can just pull the center one out. So some versatility there, which I really like. But I'm also going for some looks as well. I want knives to look good. I also noticed that the Phillips head bits, sometimes they strip very easily with a lot of pressure, and with G10 scales you need your knives to be mounted really tight, really secure. That way you don't pop a scale out or at least start to loosen stuff. So I want to move to Torx screws. Now the issue I've been having, I believe Torx is more of a metric thing, because here in America, at least from what I know, we use Phillips heads on like everything, where Torx bits I'm beginning to find are more European, more foreign. Now, yes, you can go to Lowe's or Home Depot and buy a box of Torx bits, which I have Torx screws in my toolbox here that I just bought. I understand that us Americans, we use it, but for the manufacturing standpoint, I'm having a hard time finding the Torx screws made in America, which is very, very rare, by the way, because I hate to boast, but I'm a genius when it comes to material sourcing. That is why I've been able to keep 100% USA made knives under $200 for several years now. Ever since I started, they've been under that mark. So I am an absolute genius when it comes to finding materials, except for Torx screws. That has been giving me a challenge for a little bit now, and I figured, again, let me see what you guys recommend. So if you know of any places that have Torx bolts for knives specifically, let me know, because I want to use some. I want to get that into the line, and I gotta have the screws to do it. Now that brings me to the very end of the Q&A part of the video. Now I want to show you guys around the shop and some things that are going to be changing. First off, it's going to be this back right here. So this corner of the shop, I've already put a light up because I'm working over here. I'm getting G10 scales, all that stuff. Now, I have a CNC machine over there, which is going to do all of my G10 scales. So this thing is going to cut everything out to spec, to my standards, and it's going to get everything right. But I need a place to put all that material. So what better place than right over here? Now, I already have some shelves set up, or one shelf set up for my current material, but I'm thinking I'm going to take this table out, move it outside of the shop, so that way this place is completely open. And I only have, I believe, three things down there, which one of them is an empty cardboard box, and I'm going to move everything out so this is pretty much open, so that way I can put larger shelves to keep in stock G10 scales. Now, there may be a theme you guys have caught on to, and that is I'm looking to get cleaner systems, cleaner processes, cleaner steps pretty much, because knife making is a very, 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 very dirty career path. It's a very dirty business, simply because of how much dust and just junk is created through making knives. Now, is that a bad thing? Well, sort of. When you're trying to make more refined knives, I noticed your processes need to be refined as well. And through refining processes, you usually end up refining how much waste you have. Your processes become leaned, or they get very lean. Basically, think of shed knives as a cow, and I'm cutting all of the fat off of the cow, so that way I can have just meat. And good meat, by the way, because nobody likes a fatty piece of beef. It's not good. I mean, yes, there's better flavor here and there, but you want a good amount of actual meat, and then you want a good amount of fat. Now, there's a balance to it. You can't have a fatless cow, because otherwise it wouldn't taste good, but you also can't have a fat cow, because otherwise there's no meat to it. So I'm trying to find the balance with that. Hopefully you guys understand that analogy. I also speak in analogies a lot. But anyways, I've been leaning my processes, and as I do that, I get better machines. The CNC machine I just showed off is one, and this is number two, which I've showed off for a while now. Now, this thing is actually not completely finished. I have a massive box to put around this, which is going to enclose the system. I have a few other components to install as well, so this is not completely done. I just didn't want to have a massive box in the way while I'm finishing off the 2023 collection. Anyways, I've been leaning processes, which means I'm going to get more refined materials, which means I need a place to put them. So that, my friends, is why I am thinking I'm going to get rid of this table and this is just going to be all shelf storage, so I can put knife blanks there, which are being cut on the CNC machine, the Tormach 770M that I just showed off. So I can keep my knife blanks over there. I can keep my extra G10 over here. I can keep my cut G10 scales in all the colors. Now I'll have 9 models, but one of the knife models will not have any G10 scales, which will be the 2024 shedknife Skewer Light. That will be a skeleton knife. It'll be a mini version of the Skewer, so that will have no scales to it. Now I might do some aftermarket scales, like some stuff you can get later on if you want. So that means I will have 8 different models with G10 scales, and they will all have 6 main color scales. So this is what I call a main scale, and then they'll all have 1 liner. So a liner goes in between the knife blank and the main scale. So that means I'll have 8 models with 7 different colors. So that is 56 variants of G10. Well, I need 56 different boxes to keep all these things, so that way they're not all jumbled, mixed, and whatever together. I need them separated, again, organized. Perfect spot for it. Now, let's talk about Kydex. These are the 2 drill presses I've been using for quite a while now. Here's the other one. I was kind of hiding it. But anyways, I've been using these for my Kydex system. This, I guess, smaller one in height, more specifically, this one does all of my Kydex clips. So basically, I take this piece of Kydex and turn it into a clip using this one. Now, this one right here does most of the Kydex work because it's going to drill all the holes for the grommets. Now, I don't believe I will need 2 drill presses simply because I've considered doing CNC Kydex sheaths. With CNC Kydex sheaths, that would eliminate this one, and it would keep this one over here. So now I have a little more space for this CNC machine, which again, I could put something else right here. Maybe this could be my shelf storage space, because like I talked about in my previous video of keeping an organized shop. Okay, so let me walk you through the ideal process of G10. Okay, so it should look like this. Ideally, you should have your G10, we'll just say right here. So G10 is going to be stored right here in its most raw form. Then you're going to cut out your G10 on the CNC machine. Once it's cut out, you need a place to store it. Once you've stored that cut out G10, you now need to assemble it, and once it's assembled, you then need to ship it out and get it into the mail to the customer. So that, you see how just in line that is. That is what I need to do. So that means I need to move some stuff around the shop so I can make that happen. And that's why I'm considering, okay, that table down there's got to go. This machine I moved from there because it used to be right over here. So there's a lot of moving stuff. And if gosh, I wish there was an award for this, because if Blade Show, which I go to Blade Show Atlanta every year, if there was a Blade Show award for most amount of machines moved throughout the year, I would take the #1 spot on that. I would get the award for that. So Blade Show, if you're watching, please keep that in mind. But in the meantime, yeah, so that's going on. So there's the Kydex spot. I also have this table over here, which I currently use for, obviously, my Kydex. I have my Kydex press. I have my kind of assembly area. If I need to put some knives here, some taped blades specifically, because these have to be taped before I do my Kydex. I also have this Kydex press, which looks like this. So I have my Kydex press. Now, I may be switching my Kydex system, because if I'm going to do CNC Kydex, that means I need to have, I believe it's called vacuum. It's a vacuum Kydex. So instead of compressing your Kydex, you have a suction where it's like just bringing your Kydex down onto a specific mold pretty much. So I thought about doing that. My only issue is this. I touched the ceiling right here. So I have to like crunch down and be huddled over here and working. I feel like a Smurf in here when I am doing my kydex. So I want to move that to a better spot, but I need to find a better spot. Now, one thing I will not have to change is this and this, because I'm getting rid of hand grinding out my G10 scales. Like this was done by hand on this belt sander. I also use this big wheel right here for all of my sharpening. So that means I can completely ditch the 8-inch contact wheel here and just keep this wheel permanently on the system, which absolutely fantastic, which I'm impressed with, because this is progress, folks. This is progress. So this is how I sharpen my knives. Step 1, step 2, bang, finished. And these two processes specifically, I definitely need some height for. I cannot be crunched over and just like I cannot be doing that. So I need to have the sealing space for this. So does a CNC machine. So working with a slanted ceiling is going to be interesting through the 2024 collection. But that's okay, we're figuring it out. Also, I believe this is the last point, unless I come up with something like fantastically brilliant. But in the meantime, before that happens, I considered moving this table away because it had another machine on it. But I noticed, wow, this is actually kind of helpful as I'm assembling knives, as I'm like getting stuff ready to go out. I've been keeping them on this table. Now, the table takes a lot of space when you have like 200 square feet. It kind of takes a lot of space, but anyways, thought about moving that. So we'll see. Just a lot to move. I may bring another belt sander in because I'm not sure how much my G10 scales will need to be like touched up, because I hear that you need to have like tabs on your G10 scales, which I've done. I've put my G10 scales with tabs. I need to see how I'm gonna work that. Anyways, this has been interesting. I've definitely given you an inside look on the shop. The biggest tip and suggestion I could give you guys, if you have a shop of some sort or you plan to have one, put your stuff on wheels. I say it every time I talk about moving things around. You got to put your stuff on wheels. Each toolbox in here that has a machine on it has wheels. All of this stuff has wheels. At least the things I plan to move around. Like this thing in the corner, that's staying there. If I have to move that, I better just move out of the shop, because that thing is crazy. So there are a few things I'm not moving, but the ones you do move on a regular basis or have the opportunity to move, put that thing on wheels. Alright my friends, so this brings me to the end of the video. If you like knife skills and outdoor tips, then this is the place for it. The Shed Knives community is growing fast and faster than ever, and I'm very thankful for that. I'm thankful for your support. So if you want to join the Shed Knives mission, all you have to do is hit the subscribe if you haven't already, and then just go to shedknives.com, where you can check out awesome blades like this 2023 Shed Knives Tuatar. Again, I'll put a link in the description for that. But anyways, my name is Jack, I make knives, and I'll see you in the next one. Thanks for watching.